Hello everyone, I am Tacit and welcome to the Gems of War Campaign 11, Week 9, Day 7. So today, of course, we're going to be going over all of the weekly spoilers as we do every single week. This week we have, of course, the Halloween week. Much of it is already in place, of course, as it's kind of been happening the whole last week. However, we do have a few other things going on for it throughout the week. And let's go over all of the various events. So, starting from the top, of course, we have ourselves the tall, dark, and gruesome. But we have a Nexus event. Nexus, pretty noteworthy, and I believe this is the second time ever that Nexus has had an event since it originally came out about a year ago. Of course, his Kingdom came out, late November, early December of last year. So it's almost been an entire year at this point, in which it only had pretty much 2 events since then, or, at least after its unique event thing where it had like a billion of them. But since then, it has only had 2. One was last summer, and the other one is right now, or at least tomorrow anyways, and all through next week. So we're going to begin this troop. It's a 13 mana cost brown, purple, epic elemental giant from Nexus, which both are pretty decent typings, particularly the elemental, obviously, as Nexus is nearly pure elemental in typing. And as far as what it does, deals a bunch of damage to an enemy and then converts 5 green gems to brown giant gems. So essentially the exact same as the other golems that we've been having. However, it does interestingly have stealthy. So it is going to be basically a brown version of it, just with the main caveat of it having a stealthy mechanic, which from time to time could make it a little bit more useful. The fact that it's brown could also make it somewhat useful in synergy with things like barrier on brown hero classes, of which the Elementalist is, as well as the Giant is. So there might be some situations where 50% mana start with Mirage Queen into Elementalist gets used with it. Some instances where Giant, where barrier on brown into Brown Storm gets used with it. And of all the giants, is probably going to be one of the more useful ones, even though it's the same mechanic as the other ones. Its coloration and usability with both pure elemental and pure giants might make it slightly better, though. So we will actually show some teams for it, or at least a team for it in the weekly video. As if there was any of the 6 to use of these giant-like troops that we've been getting, this is probably the one to try to utilize. Anyways, as far as the event, it looks like it's pretty straightforward. Rarity order, just don't take Zephyrus. It's pretty much all you need to know. I don't believe any of these other words change that. Well, let me double check. Each dark as the battles against Zephyrus, the mirror. Oh no, never mind. What 3 are these? Zephyrus, Mirror Queen, and Ashtar get harder. They will increase the amount of light power they give by 25%. Why? Wait, hold up. The battles against the other ones have a variable number. No, wait. Hold up. Are you trying to tell me that the lowest 3 will actually give you the most amount of points? Hold up. Zephyrus, the Mirror Queen, and Ishtara. Hold up, that confuses everything now. Wait. So you're trying to tell me these 2 and this one randomly in the middle of no. Well, that one makes sense, but so you're trying to tell me these 2 and that one will give the most amount of points, because you're going to be getting the bonus constantly. Hold up, why is this one so much more confusing? There are 6 battles. They are chosen randomly, and each have an equal chance of occurring. Only appear every 4 battles. Okay, so Star is just auto-take. It only occasionally appears. That is so weird. So that basically means Zephyrus and Mirror Queen are highest priority, because if you kept taking them over and over and over again, they were going to have a higher score. Ishtar you take every time you see it. And then from there, it's just rarity order. But gosh, there's not much left beyond that point. So that is so strange. I know that these are giving less, obviously. But with that incremental increase that's constantly being increased, there are... if you do them enough times, they're going to be worth more points than these other rooms. To what degree it will be, like if you go tier 1, tier 0, tier 3, tier whatever, I'm not quite sure. But these effectively would be the highest pointed rooms, with a star being taken every time it appears, and then the rest just being done based on order, which would be Onyx Giant, then Umbral Portal, which would theoretically make the Umbral Giants, or sorry, I said Onyx, I meant Onyx Giant here, but that would basically make the Umbral Giants the worst room, if I am understanding this correctly, based on how the scaling is. Like, these will give less points initially, but they should scale in a way that they're effectively going to give more points. Yeah, I generally don't worry about the points. If your whole guild is doing like tier 2, tier 3, you could completely ignore the point system, randomly click on them, and you'll probably be fine. The Umbral Giant already on the shop? Wait, really? What do you mean? Shop. Oh. What? Why? I guess because of the glitch last week? Well, anyways, we're going to be using Umbral Giant today. In other news, Umbral Giant exists now. 1 day early. Oh, there we go. That's funny. I guess because of the glitch they had last week. Also, why would anyone buy a power orb for $50 now? Especially when there's one in the Halloween event just sitting there for free, or basically free. Or at least a couple hundred gems. But anyways, yeah, Umbral Giant. That's fun. Let's go upgrade him. Upgradable. I'll take that. I guess they really don't want the shop to glitch next week. I guess because the other one was basically a day late, they're like, ah, we'll give this one a day early. It might be intended. Given that last week's was late. But there we go. We have next week's troop maxed. That's funny. I might have to mess with him some then, a little bit later. But that's another star for Nexus. 13 star? I don't think it was any higher than that. Let me double check. No, it does not. 13 star is the highest Nexus can get to. Which doesn't give you much, unfortunately, but every little bit helps. Anyways, in other news, there's more than that happening. But yeah, I'll need to double check the people who make the more elaborate posts. Because I'm not sure the math on when these two rooms would become better. Because if you're doing tier 0, you probably still want to do it in rarity order because there won't be enough rooms for these to gain enough ratio. But I'm not sure if by tier 2 or tier 3 or any other tier, like what tier you would be required, where these rooms would be more points than taking these rooms. Or, you know, the other 3. Or, you know, not the one that's always going to be worth it. But these other 3, the Umbral Giants, the Umbral Portal, and the Onyx Giant. Because there will be a point where these 2 will outweigh those other 2. But at exact point, I do not know. Because of the scaling on it. Anyways, that's going to be a really confusing event for scoring. So, next order of business. Let's go over all the other things. So, of course, we do still have the Halloween event going on. That'll be lasting, as we already know, the whole last week, as well as this whole upcoming week. It's the new holiday event that was added in the most recent 6.6 patch. Quite fitting for Halloween. So we still have that going on, as well as the final week of the campaign. So both of those two are wrapping up. The Halloween holiday event and the campaign for the Onyx Giant. We went over it earlier, so I didn't cover the video on it. Probably cover it tonight before we cover all the other videos tomorrow morning. So that should be up soon, TM. Aside from that, World event we were just kind of going over, though that will need some checking on later, as it is a very weird scoring system. Raid is finishing up right now. So faction event, of course, is for Nexus, which is Umbral Nexus. We'll be having that on Tuesday. Wednesday, we're going to be getting a pet for Moist Owlette. Moist Owlette's actually a pretty good one. Relatively recent one, too, since it was only added about a year ago. It's elemental bonus, so it's one of 2 elemental pets. It's one of the only few typings in the game that has 2 pets. Class event, of course, is for the Elementalist Hero class, which is Elementalist. If you somehow don't already have that max, you'll be able to get some more XP for it then. Otherwise, just claim your free 25 gems. And on our birthday, we have no event going on. Cool, so we could do whatever. Obviously, we got Arena, but yeah, Arena doesn't exist. So we could do whatever on our birthday. Perfect. Anyways, so let's go to the Halloween event. Speaking of which, obviously, basically just do your free battles every single day and you're good to go. You can also throw down the 50 gems to be able to get all the loot. And that's our current progress right now. We're trying to go get the kitty, since we already got Carmina. We already got the witch armor. Now I'm going to focus down the kitty. And then we're going to be going for the power orb lastly. And we already got all these within the last week, so we should be able to get to the other ones. As we'll have another 7 days after today. Let's see, 6 of them at 28. Math on that. That's about math. That's about like what, 170? It depends when we end up getting the extra points. That's about 170. 170 into that is like what, 260. 260 into that is 460. 1060. So 1060 done again. Oh, we might have to go for a few 100s. So we are going to be getting more ratio from the points, so maybe not actually. Because that means we got 1,060 the last week. But we have to put into account that we are going to be getting slightly more points. We might have to throw a few 100s at the end if we want that power. But that will definitely be worth it to get a power orb. Mostly for the achievement, obviously, but also that's still a pretty cheap power orb. Spending effectively, what is this, a couple 100 gems for a power. Anyways, let's go to the event. So we're currently just using a weird Zugoff build. It's working good enough. Where's Kafka? I have no clue. I did not check Discord today to see if she has replied back. But I know last night she still hadn't. I think they're almost like a week ago or so. I'm not sure what's up with that. She'll be back around eventually. So I keep forgetting this thing's convert. It's yellow to skull. And I should kill if he'll ever let me attack him. You're 900 souls short of getting the last stock of pet and the power orb. Nice. So close. It's actually not too far to go. Also, hello everyone, by the way. Hello, Bill. Hello, Andrew. Hello, Gimli. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Ricardo. Hello, Bill Warhammer. Hello, Lester. Hello, Sushi Ninja. Hello, Crisp. Hello, Dronian. Hello, Draco. Hello, Barbara. Hello, Isabel. Hello, Logic Slayer. Hello, Clip Bomb. Hello, Alistair Soup. Hello, hello, Sushi Ninja. Hello, I'm repeating so many names. Hello, Genki. Hello, Imperial. Hello, hello, everyone else. Welcome, welcome. Okay, let's go and finish out this fence. Get our little bit of points. Still got a ways to go. But of course, we're just trying to do it slowly over the course of the entire 14 days, as it comes out quite a bit cheaper doing it that way for gems. No need to overspend. Of course, you can get a little bit earlier if you so choose. Though we went the pretty much maximum slow speed version of it. I'll still be able to get everything. I also want to pick up the pet food if I have enough spears for it. Because honestly, that's a pretty good rate for the pet food. If you compare the cost to get pet food in the past to how little it'll cost to get it through this method, it's a very, very, very small amount of resources. Even at most, it's effectively coming out to about 2 gems per pet food, per colored pet food, which is actually a pretty solid deal compared to past ways of getting colored pet food or pet food in general. Unfortunately, it is a 1 buy limit though. Though you get 105 when you buy it. Let's see, we'll throw that down. And that should pretty much be match. Do that just so it doesn't get transformed. Worst comes to worst, Thrall will kill itself off to 2 damage at a time. Just need him to loop forever until he kills himself with 2 damage. I need more battles. Spend our 50 gems. And this will be enough for us to get 2 sets of kitties. I'm probably going to wait and buy all of them at once, which I believe we could do on Tuesday night. Because tomorrow night will be slightly short, and then we should have enough to buy all the kitties. And then we just hoard all the rest of our points till the end of the week until we can get the power orb. And get it all the way at the end. Let's see. You were ill the other day and forgot to use the Halloween event. Oh no, yeah, that's the only bad thing about the event. You can't do like any battles preemptively. It's one of the reasons why I hated the Puzzle Quest 3 model. And why I was slightly concerned with them adding something like this to Gems of War. Honestly, the way they implemented it to Gems of War isn't that bad of a time sink. These are very, very quick. But my biggest concern with it, especially if they keep adding events like this, is Puzzle Quest 3, their other game, is pretty notorious for having way too many mandatory dailies. As in, if you don't do the dailies, you miss out on a lot. And they're slowly starting to add more of those to Gems of War. Including the one that we have going on right now that will be returning for other holiday events. Where if you don't do your battles on a given day, you lose out on them completely. It's not like other events in Gems of War where you could delay them for a couple days or delay them for almost a week. Where you have to use them pretty much every day, otherwise you lose out. They've slowly been adding more modes like that to Gems of War. And while in Gems of War, a lot of them are very quick to do, like this one, that takes like, what, maybe 5-10 minutes? It still adds up, especially as they add more of them over time, so hopefully they won't add too many more of them over time. That time will tell. As long as you don't take like a super long amount of time, it should be that big a deal though. Because this one's like a pretty low time sink. Though they do start taking a little bit longer the deeper we get into them. But you can also choose to do it at a lower level range, of course. You don't have to keep moving forward. It even gives you the option to move back, of course. You can move forward, you can move back, you can stay where we are. Well, I'm going to keep clicking the move forward button just so we get a little bit more points. You can, of course, if you want to do them quicker, opt for slightly lower range. Especially for newer players that can't actually kill the higher range. I'm not sure why I targeted you. Out of everything we could have targeted, that was one of the least useful ones we could have hit. Oddly enough, it's actually beneficial if Thrall dies. Oh no, the Scion fight. I think mana drains. Also, it only has to do 1 damage to mana drain. So even a skull extra turn will be enough for it to land mana drain then. You have to look out for. Oh wait, I'm out of sigils? Okay, that makes sense. Oh, there we go. And now we have enough to get 2 kitties. Tomorrow night we'll have enough to get 4 kitties. And then the following night we should have enough to get all 5 kitties and start working on power for the rest of the week. And then we'll get the power achievement, as that's the only one we're missing from the event. And if we have some spares, we'll get the purple pet food. As if you had to choose between the Tradestone bundle and the purple pet food bundle, the purple pet food bundle I would say is probably better. Since this is basically the equivalent of like 2 or 3 orange orbs, or 1 big orange orb, which isn't that much value. This is the equivalent of nothing else but in the game. If you happen to be a little bit low on pet food, there really isn't equivalent of, you know, like a pet food orb. That's not a thing. So, it's just a good way to stock up on pet food. Because I know my purple color, even though I have enough weights to, like, last forever, I know my purple specifically is, like, absurdly low. Like, if I go check right here, my purple is actually exactly at 0. So, getting all the purple we would need to max this out would actually be kind of convenient. We, of course, have, in theory, infinite whites right now, which is, like, infinite of every food. However, our purple themselves is quite literally at 0. So, that bundle's not that bad, given our current food situation. Like, obviously I don't really grind for food these days, but, and we still have enough to effectively last forever, but it's still nice to get a little bit more. Also, is this pet something I need? Good, it's not. Because it only has 2 minutes left, and I wouldn't have had enough time, fail. Anyways, let's go, fail our dungeons real quick. Oh, that was quick. Oh, that was quick. Speedrunning, failing the dungeons. Hey, 5 diamonds, okay, we're hit with bleed, we're hit with curse. That honestly doesn't matter at all. I'll grab my Dragonite because we're barely getting it through any other means. Though, last night, for any of you that didn't see, we did actually get a win. Or by a win, I mean a perfect dungeon. Our first ever, or sorry, our second ever perfect dungeon. Our first ever that was on stream. Because we did get one before. It was just one of those few days that 1 week when my internet was being weird. Also, I just realized I'm using the wrong team, but in all fairness, we might as well just use this team. I don't see any reason not to. Good old Zugoff. Honestly, I might just start using Zugoff for these, as long as we're not disabled with the really annoying stats effects. Because all you have to do is just cast it once and it just melts like any other team. Yeah, Pet Food Orb would be kind of cool. Though similar to the Tradestone Orb, it would very quickly become useless. Now imagine if we had a deed orb. Things that will never happen ever. Yeah, Orbs of Ascension for a pet would be kind of cool. For getting their copies up. Because that's something that's still really annoying, particularly to cosmetic pets. Because they don't really return that often, if ever. And it's really hard, even if you already have some copies of them, to get them all the way max. Because you need their event to roll back around again. And who knows when that's going to be. And even if they're selling copies of it, that's not quite the same. Because it's not an event where you can, you know, mass spend gems. So even if there's an offer going around at a given time, where it's like, hey, you can go get this pet if you give us like 10 bucks. That still doesn't help with the fact that it doesn't give you an event for it. Where you, ideally, if you had the event, you could just throw down a couple thousand gems and have it all the way maxed. whereas a little offer that just gives you a few copies isn't going to do that. So I'm not sure what their solution is going to be into the future, but we definitely need one because there's a lot of pets that are just like not realistically possible to max. Like for example, this one. I don't think this thing has ever had an event yet. This was for the 15th anniversary of 505 Games. To my understanding, this is one of, I believe, 2 or 3 pets that have never, ever, ever had an event. Meaning it is quite literally impossible, even if you had infinite resources and money, to have ever had this pet maxed to full ascension. But you know, if they had some kind of pet orb, they could just hand out one like they did. You then invest a bunch of orbs into it, either a maxed orb, a max pet orb, or a smaller pet orb, or a bunch of them, and then boom, you got yourself a maxed out pet. But yeah, it would be cool if they added them. They'd be worth definitely quite a few thousands of gems. Because if you take into consideration how many gems it costs to max out a pet, a major orb of pet ascension would end up being roughly worth around almost 3,000 gems. Like 2,500 to 3,000. Anywhere from like the 2 to 3,000 range. So, yeah, they could definitely add something like that. Honestly, that's almost higher value than a power orb these days. With the decreasing value of power orb as of lately. Yeah, there's a lot of pets that are just like not realistic to max. Or are in some cases literally impossible to have max. Due to the current state of the game. Anyways, so let's keep doing other things. How's the adventure board doing today? Nothing. Okay, well, that's disappointing. So let's go. Actually, we don't have any other events, do we? Of course, if you haven't finished them already, we still have raid events and the award event going on for a couple more hours. However, of course, we've already had these done since last night, thanks to the guild, particularly thanks to Isabel carrying the guild as per usual. And yeah, we don't have to worry about either of those now. So I guess we will go focus on grinding then, as I believe that's the only other thing we really need to do. You know what? We can also start opening our vault key stash. You know what? I think I might dedicate tonight to doing a little bit of vault key stashing. Because we could really use a bit more loot. Our key stash has kind of been taking a bit of a hit lately. So we could use some vault key opening. Let's see. Have you seen the, have I seen the abs of the new Mythic? Oh yeah, I forgot to go over the new Mythic. I was looking at that earlier. So this is a true damage Mythic coming out based on the Star Constellation. I was looking at this earlier before the stream and completely forgot to mention it during the stream. But yeah, this guy. Let me go bring it up real quick. He's coming out on my birthday as well. Let's see. Though he's not my star sign because he's for like later in the month. But because Mythics come all the way at the beginning, they're handing it out now. Or not now, but next Friday, I mean. But yeah, this is the new Mythic that's coming out this Friday. He is a bow centaur. So close to being a bow bird. Not quite. But he's a divine centaur Mythic. Yellow, red, purple. What he does is do nothing and then become a useless Mythic. But as far as what those words actually say, it deals magic times 2 plus 4 true damage to an enemy, and then steals either 10 magic, 20 life, 20 armor from the enemy. So he's under the category of very useless, one shot at a time Mythic that just intends to kill something, then kill something, then kill something, then kill something. This is a very slow way to win in the current state of the game, as there are many things that could double kill or multi-kill that you would pretty much never really use a one at a time killer anymore. Especially one that isn't 100% consistent at killing, as there are situations where this might not even be enough damage to kill. And in those situations, it's even slower because then you have to cast 8 times rather than 4. And when you can do that within like 2 casts in a lot of situations, there's just no point in using the 4 or 8 versions that are way too slow. He does have Light Storm, which synergizes with his final trait that gives him a bunch of magic to all allies, or all yellow allies, I should say, when matching yellow gems. Overall, I really don't see any context where you would bother using him, except in maybe in a very, very weird yellow Guild War day, and even then, probably not worth it compared to the many other really good yellow Mythics out there, or even just yellow troops in general. So for the most part, he's going to be under the category of pretty useless Mythic, probably slightly below mid-tier as far as Mythics are concerned, as he's just going to be one-shotting things very, very slowly, if he can even get a one-shot to begin with. But yeah, he's very underwhelming, unfortunately. And he's coming out this Friday. But we'll still be getting him, going a video over him, all the normal stuff. What do I think of his abs? I didn't even notice them. Actually, I didn't even notice he was shirtless. I think the wings distracted me. I think I noticed the wings more than his chest. Because I like wings. Actually, was that his hair or wings, actually, now that I think about it? Both. He has hair and wings. But yeah, the wings stand out to me. His bow and wings stand out to me more than his abs. Ooh, 24 gem keys, nice. Hey, I guess that's what we'll be using this Friday. You just heard from Kafka? Oh, hold up, we might have a code tonight. Hold up, hold the presses. Do we have codes from Kafka? I'm opening Discord right now. Loading, loading, loading. I'm doing it on the quicker computer, shouldn't take that long. The Discord still takes forever to open. Oh, I heard from Kafka. She sent me a message, 9 minutes ago. Nice. Cool. Okay, let me go grab this. Copy, copy. Luckily, this isn't visible on screen. Otherwise, you'll be able to see all 50 of the codes. Which would be very bad. Oh yeah, I forgot. I can't copy paste into chat from here. Okay, I have a plan B. Someone needs to copy paste it from my screen. If someone could do that when we go put this in, that'd be great. Wait, what am I doing now? I need to take up around. Could already win. Okay, I got you guys a code. We just heard from Kafka about 10 minutes ago. Thank you, Genki. Alright, let's go handle the code. And we'll continue opening some vault keys. So, gemsofwar.com. Actually, it's easier if we just do it from here. We're already here. So if we go to gemsofwar.com, we click on the redeem code section, and you put in your invite code, and then you put in this code right here. I cannot copy paste it into chat with my current setup right now. However, the code is 70PVXQN5D4. That is the code right there. 70. This is 0, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 0. 70PVXQN5D4. That is the code. And it gives same word as always: 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, and 2,500 gold. And the code again is 70PVXQN5. There we go. Lester just copy pasted it. There we go. Just copy paste that. And give same loot as always: 2 treasure maps, 1 gem key, 200 souls, 2,500 gold. Enjoy, everyone. And apparently we have codes again. Perfect timing. That means we'll have a bunch of codes for Halloween. We'll have codes for our birthday. We'll have codes for every day. For just day reasons. Simply for a day going by. And we'll also have codes for the anniversary then. Because the 8-year anniversary of Gems of War is 2 weeks from now. Or whatever day they end up celebrating it this year. Because it seems to be a different week every year. But it's generally considered the middle of November. As far as the 8-year anniversary is concerned. Anyways, where were we? Let's keep opening vaults. Because I need to go repair my gem stack. We have gotten way beyond under 30,000. So my goal is to try to get a little bit closer to 30,000 again. Since we've dipped so far. Oh no, it was an O, not a 0. My bad. It sure looked like a 0. I would like just a little bit of mana, please. Thank you. Yay, codes for Xbox, not, yeah. Unfortunately, still no codes for non-PC mobile. Okay, we got an event key little bundle there. Whatever happened to event legendaries? They have almost never been doing event legendaries. Because it's weird, because originally the main sync for event keys was New Kingdoms being released. Then it became new legendaries being released occasionally. Now it has become a very weird mix where New Kingdoms happen at a very, very slow pace of like once per year, but also new legendaries are occurring at, or you know, specifically event key only legendaries are occurring at a ridiculously slow pace, that we've reached a really weird situation where almost nothing is hey, another gem key stack for this Friday, but we basically reached a situation where there's almost nothing properly syncing event keys anymore. Because originally it was Kingdoms, then originally it was New Legends, but then they slowed down the pace of both of them, but are still doing both of them simultaneously now. But are doing it at such a slower pace that neither of the two resources are really being consumed. So now event keys are really only used to get like legends and mythics that you don't own, that you really want. When they're in the cycle for drop table. It's really weird because they're in a state that's different than they've really ever been in the last several years. I got a bunch of diamonds. If only there was something to use them on other than mythics. The struggle of endgame. This useful resource that can craft literally any high rarity troop in the game is now useless because I have them all. Is there a good way to really quickly level a class? Hey, gems is what I'm looking for. Yes, generally Rowain builds. So, pretty standard Rowain, where you run, like, hero with anything that doesn't block Rowain, followed by Leprechaun and Mirage Queen. This ends up giving a very quick kill that can be used for a lot of things throughout the entire game. And it gives one of the quickest rates of EXP in the game, since you can win about 4 times per minute. The other alternative is a really weird one where you do a very similar team, but you fight in low-level PvP. I believe I have a guide video that I covered on it pretty recently too, didn't I? Well, pretty recently, I mean several months ago. Because I'm pretty sure I made an updated one where we're doing, I think, Nexus? I'm gonna look it up real quick. Because I'm pretty sure I made an updated video somewhat recently. Let me go double check. If I can find a link for it real quick. It's in there somewhere. If I go over to search bar and I go under hero class leveling, 3 months ago. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I covered a video on it 3 months ago, the updated one. I would like to start it from the beginning, without an ad, please. Can I skip my ad? Loading, skip ad. There we go. Alright, now I just need to find the paste button. I'm looking for share. I'm looking to get on my keyboard thingy, copy. Start at that time, yes. Please click the button, copy. And there it is. Yeah, there's the most recent one. Covered it a couple months ago. It's pretty much the same as the older video, just updated to modern. I'm very sure most of the strategies mentioned in that video are the same as, because the method hasn't really changed for years. Which is the only problem I find with guide videos for Gems of War lately, and why we haven't really been doing necessarily as many, is a lot of them are still the exact same as they were years ago. Like, the method for a lot of things have not changed in quite some time when it comes to farming really specific things. One of those being class XP. Because even though I don't farm class XP anymore, because, you know, we don't really need to until another one comes out. But, the method just hasn't really changed. Like, most of the methods you used when hero classes first existed are the same methods that are used to this day. Because it was already such a quick team that nothing has really come to make it any quicker. Hey, 126 gems? Unfortunately, we didn't get the 300 gem drop yet tonight, but it's out there somewheres. Yeah, you can get 250 wins from the Urskia hero class, the Sentinel, in order to get Urskia Shield. And Urskia Shield into Rowain is a pretty solid combo. Because that's one that's really popular. It's any hero class with Urskia Shield, Rowain, Mirage Queen, Leprechaun. Weapon technically doesn't matter too much for most fights, but if you're trying to upscale your Rowain, it does require Urskia Shield. Otherwise, Black Manacle is fine. Because Black Manacle you get for free a lot quicker. Whereas Urskia Shield you have to go out of your way for. But Urskia Shield's the only way to scale it all the way to any mode. Because you can do level 500 factions with it, technically. But it's a little bit risky, because if Rowain dies, you're kind of out of luck. But Rowain's normally used more so for quick kill stuff. Gosh, we're getting a lot of 120 gem drops. It's our 3rd or 4th one now. I've already lost count. It's been so many. Yeah, generally when you're starting out in Gems of War, I would advise doing all the storylines. Getting all the storylines done is a great way, especially in the current state of the game, to just get some initial progression. Like, way back when, it was actually beneficial to not do that, because it was better to farm, like, PvP for a bunch of gold and stuff like that. However, with how the game is currently scaled, one of the biggest priorities when first starting out is probably doing this storyline for every kingdom, because that gives you access to every hero class, every feature in the game, and then you can kind of just go from there. Because last I recall, there are quite a few features that are locked behind doing, like, X amount of kingdoms, like Soul Forge, Treasure Hunt, a few other things. Even the Underworld, I believe, you don't have access to initially until you do X number of kingdoms. Actually, specific kingdoms, I can't remember the list, though. But generally, you just want to do all of them. Yeah, Titan is really good for just doing just about everything. It can be used pretty versatilely in almost every mode. And once you have Titan max, you might want to work on Elementalist next. Especially if you're already getting Mirage Queen for a, if you're already trading Mirage Queen for a Rowan build. Not that Elementalist is really used with Rowan, but more so because you're already going to have a Mirage Queen that you can synergize into other Elemental builds at that point. Hey, if only this was a verse. Can I, like, exchange my copies of the things for verses? Really wish you could. Because I'm pretty sure we have at least double digit of all, or maybe not all of them, but we're almost double digit of most of the Savage, not the Savage Lips, but the musical people. The ones that drop the verses. We have almost double digit of each. And their verses are way more useful than their actual troop copies. Because you're never actually going to use them as a troop. They're not associated to a kingdom or anything. They're relatively useless cards that are mostly just for completionist sake. However, if you could trade them out for verses, they would actually have a purpose. Something that's probably never going to happen, though. A nice little blue orb. Also, me opening these Vault Keys right now just reminded me of how many Vault Keys we actually have in our stash. I should probably be opening these slightly more often. Because, gosh, do we have too many Vault Keys right now? Ah, another 120 drop. Yeah, at this rate, we'll have over 30,000 gems again. Just gotta do this for, like, a couple hours straight. I could only imagine how big my gem stack would be if I actually opened every key I had. Because you have to keep in mind, we're going to get like several thousand when we open all of our gold keys and all of our glory keys as well. Just because of how many we've been hoarding over years. Oh yeah, I did that on stream. I never actually separated that as a video. The hero class tier list video. Or sorry, not the hero class tier list. That I covered. But the hero class weapon tier list video. I actually did that on our 6-year anniversary to channel. I did it on stream. But I never posted it as a separated video. Because we actually did that this year. But never actually covered a video on it. Hey, another 120 gems. Because it's combined into some stream that was like 10 hours long or something. So we did cover it. It was just in a very long stream. Not as a separated video. Which still would have been a very long video, because I think it still would have been an hour-long video, but still. It would be shorter than a 10-hour-long stream. Hey, technically it's already out there. It's just not separated as a video yet. Though at this point, I'd probably just re-record it if I was going to do such a thing. But yeah, the main few that always come to mind are like Essence of Evil or Skia's Shield. Honestly, those are like the only two I could think of at the moment. There's a lot of hero weapons I don't feel like are that useful. Even though they are useful. Like, there's very few I use in, like, super endgame. Oh, yeah, Mirror of Reflection is another. But I don't personally feel like I use it that often. The biggest issue with a lot of hero weapons is they all only use one color, while most of them having a mana cost of like 12 or higher. And this is problematic for quite a few of them, as having only one color is a huge liability on many teams. Not always. There are a few teams that actually benefit from the hero weapon being a singular color. But on most teams, it's more of a detriment than a benefit. Yeah, Reflection can be good. If I'm going to use either or, I'm most likely using Essence of Evil, though. My biggest issue I normally have with Reflection is it takes too long to get going. Because the amount of benefit you get from every positive status effect, as strong as that is, does not outweigh the slower mana accumulation that you're getting. With Essence of Evil, it does. Because I personally feel like the main value from Essence of Evil is not the mana that it does, even though it does do mana, but more so the every negative status effect. Because every negative status effect in almost every situation is stronger than every positive status effect onto one of your allies. Mostly because of what some of those negative effects are. Most notably Curse. Though Essence of Evil did get nerfed when Lycanthropy was added to the game like a year or two ago. But that nerf wasn't enough to really make it bad. Just slightly worse. Yeah, it does have some pretty funny synergy with Larazza. Also, Archmagus is a really funny hero class because of +3 purple. It is still to this day the only hero class with +3 into a color while having 50% mana start naturally. The only other one that is kind of like that is Corsair, which does not have 50% mana start, though it can off of a specific troop if you use it on your team. But it has +3 to blue. It is very rarely used just because of its lack of half mana start naturally. Yeah, you can adapt Rowan for Explore 12. It's a little bit slower than the Mythic versions. But, yeah, Rowan can be adjusted to do literally anything. Similar to, like, Mang, Burial and Brown Hero. Or Skia's Shield, Rowan does pretty much every mode in the game. Assuming it's usable for that mode. The only big issue with a lot of Rowan builds, though, at least later in the game, is a lot of them are dependent on that one entire troop. So if it dies to it for any reason, it's just kind of over. And that armor value starts getting poked. Well, luckily, your Skia's Shield gives a barrier, so you can normally negate against it a lot of times. Honestly, our Volky loot tonight hasn't been that bad. None of the super mega loots, though. We haven't gotten the power, we haven't gotten the 300 gem drop. Oddly enough, no tarot cards yet either, not that I need them. Up. I wonder if they have a boosted right to the Devil right now. The Devil first came out last year around the Halloween event. Last year's Halloween event, you actually got easy copies of the Devil. This event obviously way different now, as well as the whole new system that they have for events that will likely be for every event going forward. However, last year's Halloween event is when we got the devil. That's funny. I literally just said we haven't gotten a tarot card today, and we immediately got one. And it's the one that they gave out last Halloween. Though, of course, you can still get in the Volky drop table. The only problem is you need 5 of them to be able to craft a trick-or-treat weapon from last year. And while it is possible, the chance of you getting 5 is very rare. Like, we just got 1 there, and we could open like another 1,000 keys and still not have 5. Luckily, Essence of Evil and Mirror of Reflection are super easy to get. So it's not too big a deal not having Trick-or-Treat. Because I feel like I pretty much never use the weapon. The biggest issue with Trick-or-Treat, even though it does every positive and every negative stats effect, is it doesn't have any amount of mana accumulation. Because this is the main thing that makes Reflection of Good and Essence of Evil usable. Is a lot of times they get most of their mana back anyways from their explosion. Not where Trick-or-Treat. You basically just cast it once and just hope it's enough to win. Did I get tomorrow's trip from the shop? Yes. I have already gotten the trip. It is in our inventory. Just kind of chilling there, doing his thing. You've been spending about an hour every day looking up beginner guides for the game. Nice. Yeah, a lot of mine are from a little while back. Most of them are still relevant. I really do need to get back to posting more guide videos, though. I felt like I haven't been doing as many lately. Though most of what I have covered is still relevant to this day, just because the meta for it very slowly shifts. Like, it almost never really changes. Many strategies from like 3-4 years ago are still used today. Well, there are also newer strategies. A lot of the older ones still work. Oh yeah, Keylime doesn't even make Gems of War content anymore. He made a lot of pretty decent stuff though when he was. Yeah, he hasn't made a single Gems of War, or actually, what has he even been doing lately? I don't remember. I know a little bit he was getting into like NFTs. And I think he was doing like some Dungeons and Dragons stuff. But he hasn't really had much of an online presence recently. But he did Gems of War content, I think, for like 2 years. And it just completely stopped. Come on, something good. Blue orb. Blue orb is good. Not the good thing I'm looking for, though. I want to see like 300 drop tonight. If you could try for it. Otherwise, I might just start messing with the new troop that came out next week. And by next week, I mean today. Because tomorrow's troop is already available right now. Which I guess is a good way to make sure it's available for the following week. Make it available so early that it can't possibly be late. I wonder if they even know that. Have the devs been made aware that the thing is available early? I'm pretty sure it's just a precaution to make sure that what happened last week doesn't happen again. While they find a more permanent solution to it probably in next patch. Because next patch is likely November 8th. This isn't confirmed yet, but it's a really likely date. is they would likely need to do one before the, nice, we got gems. But they likely need to do one before the 8-year anniversary of the game, which is likely taking place the 2nd or 3rd week of the month. Also, even though Major Blue is good, they don't even feel like anything anymore. Especially with how much down the Power Orbs have gotten. Like, Power Orbs still, like, a nice drop to get. But gosh, they need to do something to use them on. It seemed like they were going to just keep adding things for it, but then they just stopped. Like, I guess they somewhat stopped just so newer players wouldn't feel as bogged down. But they've added so many more ways to get Power Orbs lately. Yet to this day still have added nothing to use them on, other than what already existed a couple years ago. Yeah, that's what I thought. They're just doing it as a workaround until they can get a patch out early next month. That makes sense. Because that'll be fixed before the 8-year anniversary then. Because the next patch is almost guaranteed November 8th. And they're just doing it as a workaround until then. So that means only this week and next week they would have to do it like that until it's fixed. Oh, why did I not do that? I was like, I need mana. Then I don't take the mana I need. There we go. Yeah, generally, it is worthwhile to spend your glory in 2 ways. One is to buy the 10 event keys that you can get every single week. It's underneath that one resources tab. You can, even though most of them cost, I believe, money or gems, whatever it was, there are a few things there that cost glory, and the most noteworthy one is you can buy 10 spoils of war per week. And while it gives you a few loots like treasure maps and a few other things, the most noteworthy thing is it gives you an event key for 180 glory, which is a really good exchange rate. There's a 10 buy limit per week, and it's worth getting all 10 every week if you can get that much glory. But yeah, beyond that, all of your glory is generally best spent on whatever the new glory trip is. Because it gives you a really well range of loot as well as a lot of trait stones. As well as whatever the more modern troop is of the week, since they add one every week. They're not always necessarily good, but the one this week's actually not too bad. Like, of all the golems, this one's probably the most noteworthy one. Especially with a Titan hero class. Oh, that's our second pet gnome we've gotten. You know, not the actual gnome, but the card of the gnome. So we'll do a few more keys, and then I think we're going to go team build a little for a couple of things that we have going on next week. We're going to have to make quite a few more teams than whatever we're showing now, though. Just so we can get the video up nice and quick. Hey, if nothing else, we can actually show the Glory Troop team a little early, since we already have it. Also, gosh, why does it feel like my air conditioner isn't working right now? It is so hot in here. I've almost been getting sick from it too, because we keep having days that get like super cold, and then other days where it's like actually like pretty warm out. It keeps messing with me. Because my body's like, oh, it's getting colder, and then there'll be like a day where it's like middle of summer heat. Not literally, but you know, way hotter than normal. My body doesn't handle it well when it keeps going like cold, warm, cold, warm. Did everything in Gems of War become very inflated? Well, they keep making, I would say yes, but in a good way, kind of. Because a lot of resources keep getting easier and easier to get. Which in theory is completely a good thing. However, some things they keep increasing. Like, for example, the amount of gem sinks in the game. Even though it is very easy to accumulate gems in this game, which is the premium currency. It has also been consumed at a higher rate than it has ever been in the history of the game. Though it is also accumulated at a really high rate. Because honestly, I feel like for newer players, Gems of War honestly isn't too bad for catching up. Doing true 100% completion might still be a little bit hard for a newer player. But as far as just getting to a point where you have most everything, honestly isn't that bad within about a year. We're just slowly playing the game over time. Especially if you grind vault events. Because most resources in this game, I would say in the current state of the game, come from two locations. Well, technically 3. Doing every single daily related to like guilds and just everything within the game. But just simply doing the dailies and participating in guild-like events, all that. You know, basically every daily, weekly kind of anything that's like set at a certain time range. Any of those kind of events. The second is from Tribute. Tribute early on might not seem like much, but later in the game it becomes your primary way of accumulating gems. And the third is Vault events. Vault events give you a bunch of resources, one of those resources being what we're using right now, Vault Keys. And Vault Keys drown you in a lot of loot, as you've probably seen over the last like 20 minutes, as we've been opening them. Because this is the result of Vault events that occur about once every 6 weeks. We just had one the other week. That's where all these keys came from, or at least most of them anyways. And they give you a lot of very useful stuff. And we barely even used any. We haven't even used 100 yet, I don't think, this stream. In every Vault event, you can get hundreds. If you really grind over 1,000, as some people do. The last weekend we went for 500. So getting a couple 100 pretty doable. Higher ranges can be a little bit harder, as far as like total number of time. Now, there are some people that do 1,000 like every time. I know Isabel and I believe Tyrion normally do, and probably a few other in chat who like almost always go for 1,000, if not higher. Normally my goal is like a few hundred. Occasionally I go for the 1,000 though, and last time we aimed for 500. We got Baz Bonebreaker. Honestly, we almost had the gold crew this stream. Those little cards. Unfortunately, all the upgrading all of the gnome cards are currently pointless in the current state of the game. Like, people still do it for completion's sake. But based on how Kingdoms upgrade work, it is one of only a few types of cards in the game that actually have no purpose. At least currently. Because most of them are tied to Kingdom upgrades, which is what gives them their value to be upgraded even if they're useless. But there are a few of them, like the Primal cards, the Gnome cards, and a few others that are not actually tied to any kind of reason to upgrade them. They're still done so just for completion's sake, even though they don't have an actual resource reason to upgrade them. We'll do a few more. We'll do 3 more keys, which will bring us to exactly 4,600. Then we'll go team build some for next week then. We're not going to build every team for next week, but we're going to build several of them. Mostly the ones that we know about already, that we can 100% confirm the team for. Also, we don't need any teams for next weekend, because it's an arena event. So there's no teams to actually include, since you have to draft your team. Hey, we got the Lovers. This is a tarot card from a couple seasons ago. It's been in drop table for a little while now. Actually, wasn't that added for Nexus, now that I think about it? Which was about a year ago. That's been in drop table for several months now. Because I believe that was the money locked one in the season pass a little while back. Or not the season pass, I mean the kingdom pass. Yeah, I got 60 diamonds with 600 souls and a bunch of other sixes. There we go. Okay. Go take our tribute. And there we go. Just like that, boom. We almost have 30,000 gems again. During that whole ordeal, we got like 2,000 gems or so. Anyways, let's go and build some teams. Oh yeah, I forgot. I actually can't build that many teams because I haven't covered the video things, did I? Haha. Wait. Well, there is one team I do want to go over. If nothing else. And that is the new troop we just got, oddly enough. So let's at least build one for that. And then we'll end it there because I forgot I still need to go record those 2 videos. I think I'm only going to post one of them immediately. And that's going to be the one on the Mythic. Because a lot of people will be getting the Mythic in about 6 hours from now. So I'll cover that one. Oh yeah, the Lovers is from here. That's what I thought. Yeah, this came in through the Kingdom Pass back in last November, December. Oh, you can, of course, get it for free from Volkies. Anyways, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the new trip that just came in. There it is. The Umbral Giant. Let's go build a team out of Umbral Giant real quick. Because out of all the Giants, I personally feel like this is going to be the most useful one. So I do want to show a team for it. Rename Umbral Giant. Yes, and as Genki mentioned, definitely feel free to leave a like on the stream. Helps a lot and is greatly appreciated. Yeah, let's go make an Umbral Giant team real quick. So, Umbral Giants. Obviously want to go Titan for this. Though we could go down the Mirage Queen route, but I do want to go down a Barrier on Brown Hero class route, so we might as well just go Titan, of which we already have set. Perfect. You know what? We can go a Mang build version of this. Go like Skull Spam Mang. Make that work. We're gonna need a mana accumulator. I almost want to put Angry Mob there, but we definitely can't with that, so... Leprechaun we probably don't want to do. Thrall would block. I might actually need to go Box Strider, one I don't normally use as much. Oh, but I still want to use Heron first, because we're not going to run the Earth's Fury version. I want this one to be easier to build. And then, the only other thing we'll need then is... I kind of want a brown damage source. I really want to put a Mythic here. But if I'm not mistaken, the Mythic that covers this color is not good. I do want to check what is under here. Oh, we got Mistralis. We can make that work. The only issue is we don't get skulls, but Mistralis still technically gets skulls. In an indirect way. And then we just go double brown green. Oh, we won't have half mana to start for Box Strider though. You know what? I might go double purple brown. As weird as that may seem. Because I really want Umbral Giant to be able to 2-turn this thing. Because I don't want to give the extra mana to Box Strider since his green's going to get denied anyways. To enough of a degree, I almost want to minus my green on this team. Because I want to try getting it up through enchant and other things. You don't have the perfect dungeon run achievement, although you've gotten 2 perfect dungeons already? Really? That's strange. I haven't seen any reports of people not getting it when they get it. I believe it does only apply to the platform you're on, but that shouldn't affect it. Like, for example, if you play on PC Mobile, I think you have to do it twice, one on each. But aside from that, if you get it on the platform, you should just immediately get the achievement thingy. Let me go test this real quick. My only concern with this team is getting it started. Everything beyond that point should be pretty easy. The big concern is the initial several turns. So right off the bat, we are in need of 2 things. Purple and green, even though we have minus green. Alright, it's going to be guaranteed full mana. Throw down Mistralis. We don't have alignment on that. I was gonna take a Brown and get it rolling. So we throw down Mang, we throw down the other thing, and then we just start tearing everything from there. So we did that. Clear it out. Get an Umbral Giant down. Assuming he has alignment, which he doesn't. I was gonna have the board clear again. Once again, no. We have a little bit of Umbral Giant there. It's not enough to go for, though. All the Giants are kind of awkward to use sometimes. And we already did enough to kill. Like, they have a premise that isn't necessarily bad. It's just the amount of situations where they're on your team and you have alignment with them is just so rare. It's a category of troop that, like, in theory can be good, but in practice is almost never actually worth using. Which is kind of unfortunate. Because the premise of it's not bad at all. Just in practice, it doesn't really do much. We're frozen on, like, everything right now. And by everything, I mean one frozen just completely crippled this whole team. Though, what's new? It's like every battle in existence these days. Freeze gets a lot of value. I almost want a Mistralis here. Though realistically, I should go for a second Mang. We're still frozen on pretty much everything. I need Hero to die. Or not Hero, I mean first slot. At this point, we're going to have like an infinite attack hero that won't be able to do anything. He's just going to get entangled soon. We're not frozen on red right now, though. I need Mistralis to die so we can win. There we go. Okay, now we can go win. Problem though, there's no skulls now. There we go. There's a skull. Alright, let's need a little more value. We're not frozen on yellow. We don't even use yellow anymore now that's dead. I don't have board clear anymore. Oh, you know what I do have, though? Oh, no! We didn't get the one to convert that I need to convert. Luckily, he rope darted the wrong target. Oh, we still have a chance here. Very sketchy fight, though. Oh, no! Hero got entangled. It's over. What a weird fight. You can still technically cleanse and win. I probably should have gotten rid of Hero's Barrier there. Ah, it's not going to matter, though. No. Yeah, I think we need to make some kind of adjustment to this team. I think our mana accumulator needs to be Leprechaun. It's just too slow of a start. Good old Leprechaun. Let's see how it does against Infinite Goblin. Normally you'd want to have a freeze for this, but we should be fine. Thanks to Leprechaun. Alright, so I'll throw down Mang. Let him do whatever. Ideally we'd have a Cascade to Skull, so we'll just go for a clear here. I do not have a good convert, so we might just have to go for a second Mang. I do not have enough damage to kill him, which is unfortunate. He has not started his loop yet, but he's about to. And we can't really stop him, which is concerning. Because now he's going to start the infinite loop part. He silenced our hero, which doesn't really do much. The problem is his 20 other casts that he's going to do. Good old infinites. Anyways, he doesn't have freeze, so we can move that over. I can still skull poke him. Every skull poke we do just insta kills. I know, we got a bandit summon. Combined with an iron gut. Could you imagine if that iron gut actually lands Devour? Hopefully it's dumb enough to go for the thing that has immune to Devour. But yeah, this category of troop just is not that usable. As much as I want these golems to, like, do something, they really don't do much. Like, if you compare them to every... Can you stop summoning infinitely? But compared to just every other option under the same category. They just don't do much. It's a really inconsistent convert that even when it lands, does not give you enough value to justify how rarely it's landing. I might just not even cover a team for him. Oh, I did not mean to refresh there, though. I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just 50 gold. But, yeah, he has the same issue that all the other giants have. Or all the other umbral giants. Or not the umbral, whatever you call this. These elemental giant things that convert into big gems. The same issue that all the other colors have, he still very much has. Hasn't really changed. So him having stealthy is still kind of interesting angle for it, though. But it's just not worthwhile. Same as all the other ones. Though I do have to say, Onyx Giant is relevant, which is kind of in the same category of them. But all these 6 smaller elemental ones just aren't really that good. Like, I'd rather just use one of the trolls with a giant. Yeah, the final trait is really, really bad on all of them, including on Onyx. Like, the one on Onyx is still just as bad. But luckily, it's less likely for skulls to backfire because there's less skulls on the board. So even though this can be really detrimental and they skull into you into another skull, at least in the case of this, it's not necessarily bad because if they only get 1 poke on you, as in they take a skull and then they get those extra 2 uber skulls, it could give you alignment for your follow-up convert. So even though this can backfire just as much, it doesn't tend to backfire as much a lot of times. But yeah, it's just a really awkward typing of troop, where realistically the skull version of it with Onyx Giant's the only realistic way you can kind of get away with it. And even then, it's just kind of average. But anyways, guys, any other questions? Anything you want me to go over? Otherwise, yeah, we'll cover the video tomorrow. I'll have 2 videos up, one going over all the weekly stuff between Soulforge, all the weekly events, you know, everything like that. And the other video, as we've been doing, will have all the teams for the entire week. Everything from all the Monday objectives all the way to throughout the entire week. Though we don't really technically have a weekend event since we have an arena event instead of anything we actually need a team for, since you cannot preemptively make a team for arena and is completely drafted. Let's see. Will I be doing the Bayonetta dance for your birthday? No. I will not be doing the Bayonetta dance for our birthday. But anyways, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful Halloween tomorrow, as it is Halloween. With all the trick-or-treaters, we already got our whole big, gigantic thing of candy to hand out. I do not have an outfit plan, though. But, well, we will be doing Halloween tomorrow night, then. And, obviously, we'll have a bunch of events for it in Gems of War. And by a bunch of events, I mean mostly just an event that's been going on. I don't think they're adding anything extra necessarily tomorrow than the little free thing we're getting. But, I'll still be able to celebrate a little bit, if nothing else. Hand out a few extra codes for it as well, as a little bit of extra loot, and we'll go from there. Anyways, guys, enjoy the holiday. I'll catch you guys soon, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Goodbye, everyone, and thanks for watching.